Hi, everybody. Just getting things set up and ready. I see we all had our intro. I'm just going to, let's just see here. And we're in the private chat. Oh, no, there we go. There we go. Now I can see. So I've been going to the wrong section. Hello and welcome. Today is March 14th, 2025. It is week 3 of the Fibro Fight live Q&A. I have a few questions that I can answer if none of you add them to the comment section. But today we're going to talk about using NLP for pain reduction and different forms of cannabis for therapeutic relief. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me. I believe I've got everything set up everywhere. Yes. Okay. So we are live. Yes. Okay. All right. Hopefully y'all can get in here okay. I'm not sure if I put all the links. I should have, but that being said, today I really want to talk a lot. I'm Irene, for those of you who don't already know me, or for those of you who are just tuning in. This is another session of the Fibro Fighters live Q&A. If you're new here, this is the space where basically we come together to learn powerful tools and strategies to help fight fibromyalgia naturally, pharmaceutically free. We use things like hypnosis and NLP techniques, tapping techniques, that's next week, and cannabis therapies, and a slew of other different modalities that you can use on the spot to deal with the symptoms as they show up for fibro, because we all know that this condition is a very sneaky condition, and the symptoms can sneak up on you up out of the blue. Sometimes we get the warning, sometimes we have triggers, but not always, right? So that being said, I do have more of a presentation for you today than I think I had last week, but I'm pretty sure you'll appreciate it. It'll, help give some visuals. Drop me a purple heart in the comments if you're tuning in live, or if you have picked this up same day. Tell me where you're watching from, and let's start building this Fibro Warrior community, shall we? I'm going to, there we go. All right. If you've ever wished that you could, retrain your brain to feel less pain. That's how I say it to myself. I want to retrain my brain so that I'm not feeling this pain. You're going to love this NLP tool. It's amazing. It's all about how to change your brain and how your brain actually is interpreting the pain signals. We'll talk a little bit about that. So I want you to think of this as sort of like you're hacking, like computer hacking your brain to take control of how you feel. NLP helps to rewire pain perception. It's the brain's, it also, and how it does that is because the brain has its own language patterns that give it instructions, right? So we've all heard it, neurons that fire together, wire together. Same idea here. The brain, how we talk to our brain will impact the physical sensations that we feel. And we've all done this. We've all talked ourselves in or out of something at some point in time, right? So if you've gone, think about your baby toe right now, that baby toe on your left foot, think about it. And I want you to feel right where that nail that might be too long or cut a little bit too short. Notice how you can really notice that baby toe right now. Maybe it has a bit of a throb or a pulse in it. This is all because you just opened the program in your brain to say, hey, what's happening with that baby toe? Okay. So how we talk to our brains, the things we think about, that's, for all intent purposes, that's what NLP is. It's simple techniques. Once you learn what the techniques are, they can provide instant relief. And I have experienced this so many times first time that I cannot not share it. So I want you to think about a time maybe that you may have noticed that when you're focused on something that you love doing, maybe it's crafting or painting, maybe it's playing cards or putting together a puzzle. Notice how when you're doing that, the pain sort of seems to fade. Yeah, that's NLP in action. That's exactly what it is in action. So very cool. Some questions that I often get about NLP are things like, how can NLP help with the fibro pain? Well, basically, it helps rewire how we're going to think about our pain and how we can shift our brains to a different sort of gear so that our response reduces the discomfort. That's probably the biggest question that I get. Let's move on. Some other questions that I do get are things like, does NLP mean ignoring my pain? No, not at all. NLP teaches you to change how you're interpreting that pain and how you can shift it or change it slightly so that you can manage the pain so that it's not as intense and it's not controlling you, but rather you're controlling it. There's an sorry guys, anybody counting? Is NLP just positive thinking? This is what I used to think NLP was. And it took me a while it took some training actually to learn that NLP is actually a structured approach that uses language and visualization and mindset shifts that really help you. It helps to reprogram your brain's pain response amongst numerous other things. I mean, we're talking specifically about pain today, but NLP can be applied to absolutely anything and everything that is the human condition. If you want change, you want NLP to do that because it's the programming language for actually rewiring or reprogramming our brain. It's crazy how quickly NLP techniques can reduce the pain for some people who get to feel absolute immediate response. And I've done that. I've walked into the edge of a table and banged my knee, and it's like, oh, mama, right? And then I just right away went, oh, isn't it interesting how just an inch away from my kneecap, I don't feel anything at all. And notice how the blood is surging down there. And there's the inflammation to help it feel a little bit better so that and this is all the talking I do inside of my brain. And while I'm doing that, I'm of course getting out my cannabis infused coconut oil topical cream, which we're going to talk a little bit more about in a few more minutes. But so how you talk to yourself can really help change the pain in the moment. It also really helps that the more you practice specific NLP techniques, and we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of them that you can start applying today, practicing them, using them, and the more you do them, the better, the more effective they'll become, the better and easier it'll be for you to apply them. It's like driving a car. The more you do it, just the better and more automated it becomes, really. So other people actually feel relief from the pain as more like gradual improvements over time with practice, depending on the type of pain that they're coping and dealing with. Things like chronic pain, where, that every time you stand up, because your feet are swollen, because you're having this issue or that issue, or because, when you stand on your feet, they're gonna hurt. There's a swelling there and it's gonna hurt. And that's just part of, it's part of the equation for you. One of your battle strategies may be to apply long-term NLP techniques to that, like rewiring your brain to know that when I stand, I will notice that my feet, although inflamed, feel more tingly than they do painful. And then, so that's more of a mild discomfort. Pain is not a bad thing. It's there to give us a warning. So you don't want to not feel your feet, right? I mean, you want to know, has it gotten worse? Has it gotten better? We're also going to talk about different dials. We'll get to that. Another big question that people almost always ask is, can NLP work for people with chronic pain conditions other than fibromyalgia? Absolutely, yes. If you have a brain and you can use your brain and you could talk to yourself, then yes, NLP will work very usefully for you in any way, shape, or form you decide to apply it. Today, we're talking about pain, chronic pain. And any chronic pain warrior can use these techniques that I'm going to share today. It really helps to break the cycle of pain, stress, and emotional triggers. What other kinds of questions am I asked? Let's see. NLP techniques reduce the pain. Some people, as I said, feel immediate relief. Others are going to notice a gradual improvement over time with practice. But I think that answers everybody's questions. And I don't see any in the chat. So I am just going to move on to our next slide. Actually, here you go. Let's actually try this hands-on. Let's try one of these techniques. I'm going to teach you two very different techniques that you can absolutely start using today. Right now, I encourage you to join me in this practice. The first one is called the dissociation method. Now, if you can close your eyes, I find it's more comfortable to do that. You're not on camera, so please feel free to close your eyes and just imagine, pretend that you could express pain, the pain or discomfort that you feel, as a color or shape. Just pretend that you could see it, if you could see it, or you could express it to tell somebody, it's what color and shape or shape is it? Take a moment to really imagine that. Good. And now picture or imagine that shape and color moving away from your body as though you were looking at it as a substance external to you. Maybe you might want to shrink it with your hands or picture the color of it fading. What would that look like with the faded more and more? Or what would it feel like if you were to change that color? Change it right now to, if you were red, go to green, or yellow to blue, or purple to brown. Pick a different color. What does that feel like? Now look to the pain and notice that it's different. So what we want to do here when you're doing the NLP technique is you want to picture moving it smaller, 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 squishing it up, or moving it away so it gets further and further, or changing the color, fading those colors. And taking slow, deep breaths as you're doing this will help you mentally and physically. And you can mentally pretend or imagine that you're moving it further and further away until it absolutely disappears. It's an amazing technique. So, to share a personal experience with you, I have wicked, and I mean wicked, muscle spasms that attack me out of the blue. And they attack my feet, they'll attack my neck, under my arm, sometimes in the groin area, sometimes in the buttock on my left side between my buttock and my hip. So I will get this muscle spasm, and it's like a Charlie horse, and it's like, hoo-hoo. So I've made this guy a very striking, deep, deep purple with silver or chrome-like spikes and lines all around that purple pain. That's what a spasm looks like in my brain, and it can take any shape. The point is it does take a shape, and it does have a color to it. So what I'm doing as I'm taking a deep breath is, as I'm breathing in, I'm shrinking it down smaller, and then as I exhale, I push it out more. And then another deep breath in, smaller, and push it out more. And I do that again and again. And usually by the third time, the muscle spasm has stopped. And even if it hasn't stopped completely, it doesn't hurt. It's like I'll watch my toes do this funky splay thing. I'll watch my fingers after a long day of painting or writing or knitting or crocheting or doing needlepoint. Yes, I do all of those things. I'll find my hands have this cramp and now they're, jerking out like this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt like it did because I've got this really cool, and yes, I use the word cool because I find for me, pain is hot. So I want it to be cool. And the colors of a deep purple and chrome were very cool for me, very cooling colors. So I was able to cool that pain. So that is the technique of dissociation. Dissociate yourself from the pain. Make it a separate thing from you. It's still you're feeling it for sure, but just like a stick poking at you, you're dissociated from that stick. You can take that stick away. You can do the same thing with the pain that's happening inside of your body. Just simply dissociate from it in the same methods that I just described. And don't worry, for those of you sticking around, at the end of today's episode, I will be sharing a link where you can download the NLP cheat sheet that I wrote up for you. It's just a resource that can help you. And we talk a little bit. I share the information, the steps for doing the dissociation technique. Now, technique number 2 that I want to share is anchoring the relief. This is a very wonderful, amazing, phenomenal tool to have at your disposal. And here's how we're going to do it. And you'll understand the value of it when we're done doing it. So just give it a go. Here you go. I want you to think right now of a time when you felt completely and totally at ease, fully relaxed, where it was like, yeah. And for some of you, that might be in the nice hot bubble bath last night. And others, it might be on a beach in a hammock. It may be in your bed with your head in that nice, soft, fluffy pillow. Whatever it is, I want you to think of a place where you feel completely relaxed and at ease. Now close your eyes, and I want you to think about every detail about that relaxation place. What can you see in that place of relaxation? What do you hear? Are there any sounds? Is it white noise? Is it the sound of your own breathing? What can you feel in that total place of relaxation and calm? And now while you're in that state, I want you to press your thumb and your middle finger together very tight. This is the trigger. This is the anchor. Hold it nice and tight and breathe out. That's right. And now I want you to do that again. I want you to do that 3 times in a row. Go to that place and really, almost as though you're right there in your mind, feel wherever it is. Feel the things you feel when you are in that complete state. This will work. You said you're picturing knee pain that you've had for the past few months. It's purple bowl shaped, spinning counterclockwise, heavy, rubbery, and cold. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. So how you can utilize this NLP technique. Let's talk about that anchor. Once you've set that anchor of that finger and that thumb pressed together, every time you have that awesomely relaxed and calm sensation, you press those 2 together, stare at it. No, I'm awesome. Let go. All right. Next time that pain, or as you're feeling that pain, and you can picture it, it's purple, it's bowl-shaped, it's spinning counterclockwise, it's heavy and rubbery and cold. I want you to picture it. Stop for a second by hitting that anchor. Hit that anchor and feel good for a second. Notice that when you hit that anchor, that image of your knee pain, that bowl-shaped, purple, spinning, counterclockwise spinning, heavy, rubbery, cold bowl will stop for 1/10 of a second. And in that moment, you can spin it away. Exhale. Let go of your fingers. Exhale. Blow it. When you blow it in your mind, it will begin to spin the other way and it will shrink as it does. So as it spins counterclockwise, it gets bigger and heavier and rubbery and cold. And as you exhale, you're spinning it in the opposite direction, further, smaller, away, changing its shape maybe to like a little marble-like thing, making it light, fluffy, poof, just like one of those little stink bombs. Poof, it's warm and fluffy and gone. And you can do that easily and effortlessly. And tying it to an anchor will give you the opportunity during a flare-up to tackle it on the spot. I hope that really helps. And I hope I was clear with explaining that. Try this many times, different ways, but really practice setting that anchor, because you will notice that having that anchor affords you that your mind, your brain, that 1/10 of a second it needs to stop time. Okay, pain, stop. Awesome feeling. I got to do this. Okay, give it a try. And thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Let's move on to a couple to an experience that I would definitely like to share with you here. This is a guided experience to reframe pain. So another way that we use NLP for, again, this can be applied to so many different things in your life in so many different ways. But in this particular case today, we are sharing it in respect or in relation to dealing with pain language. The things you say and how you say them have tremendous impact on how you feel them. So how you describe your experience will have direct impact in how you feel your experience. Today, I'm going to get you to try a very simple exercise that's going to help you to shift the way that you talk about pain so that you can help you take back that control and start feeling better, like right now. First, identify your current pain language. So what we want to do here is we want to start by bringing awareness to how you describe your pain. Think about a recent fibro flare or chronic pain or discomfort that you're feeling right now. And how would you describe it? Do you use words like burning, aching, stabbing, unbearable? Okay. Now what I want you to do is take a moment and notice how each of these words make you feel. If I said to you right now, burning, aching, unbearable, burning, aching, unbearable, your brain is looking for things to tell you, this is burning, this is aching, this is stabbing. Yes. So our brain hears our words, and it has a double impact because there's the kinesthetic and the audio. The kinesthetic, we're speaking, the audio, so we're enriching this experience by adding a verbal, audio, pardon me, and kinesthetic, right? I want you to notice what you feel when you change it to new words, to clean words, to good words. Let's shift those words. And instead of saying stabbing pain, I want you to try saying a sensation that I'm noticing. Perhaps instead of unbearable, you can try challenging. Perhaps instead of agony, temporary displeasant, temporary discomfort, unpleasant feeling. These are all much less aggressive words. And for some of us, that's where we have to start. Others can go direct to much nicer things. Your foot goes into a spasm. You can say, oh, look at that. All of my muscles are working. As you move away that pain by shrinking it down, blowing it away. You've already set your awesome, I feel great, relaxation and calm anchor. And as you blow that away, you can say, oh, how wonderfully skilled I am. Look at how incredibly buff my brain is getting. The more I use it, the better it gets, the stronger it becomes, the more these skills are serving me. And you just go into a whole different thought. And that muscle spasm that was happening and might still be happening doesn't have near the crippling effect that it may have once had. And these are just the really cool things that we can do with our brains simply by talking to ourselves, changing the way we talk to ourselves. By changing our words, we can take away some of the emotional weight of the pain that we experienced, which obviously makes it easier to manage, right? In the future, do a future focus. Create a positive pain script for yourself. Get ready to do something like write your own script. I'm learning how to reduce the sensation. Every day, I am finding more comfort and ease in my body. Every day when I do a body scan in the morning before I get out of bed, I am finding more and more positive places of comfort and ease than I've ever found before. I am noticing more and more how my knee is feeling more and more relaxed and how the inflammation is clearing more and more every day. Notice over the course of days how this has an amazingly wonderful generative effect on how you experience pain. Because even if you don't fully believe it yet, your brain does hear all of these new messages that it's hearing, and it begins to shift because you can't unhear what you've heard. You can't unlearn something. That you will always know what you know once you know it, These messages begin to shift your mind, shift your patterns, change subtle changes in the programs instantly and constantly. It helps you to reframe your pain, which isn't about ignoring it. It's about choosing a new perspective that makes it feel more manageable and less overwhelming. Right? Okay. I want to challenge you to start noticing. Notice the words that you use when you're talking about your pain. And when you catch yourself, write that word down if you can. And right beside it, put a better word. And next week, switch them up. See what kind of differences have been made in your subconscious mind. Pardon me. All right, moving on. Yes, please let me know in the comments what one word is that you might be replacing today. Let's just see. All right. Another question I get asked a lot about, and I promised I would be talking about it today because I don't always talk about cannabis anymore. I have grown from Green Irene to the Change Catalyst. And the Change Catalyst does use cannabis therapies. Exhausted is your word. Wonderful. And what will you be changing the word exhausted to be? From exhausted I'll let you think on that. I'd love to give you a bunch of words, but you can even use Google. Use the word exhausted, put it into Google and say, tell me the opposite of exhausted, and find which one resonates best with you. And any one of those words, thinking LOL, yeah. But you can type it. You can even use Chat GPT or AI in any way, shape, or form, and just ask, what's the opposite of that feeling? What could I replace that word with to tell myself? Because we all know we can talk ourselves in or out of anything. I mean, I've talked myself into climbing what was once the world's largest Ferris wheel in North America, and I climbed to the top of it. I talked myself into that. This is a person who doesn't like climbing a ladder. We can also talk ourselves out of things, and then the more experience we have, we can start adding rationalizations and justifications to talk ourselves out of things. So the point is here, NLP helps you to talk yourself into, out of, and how to deal with. But I can't believe I didn't think of this, but full of beans. From exhausted to full of beans. Okay. Oh, yeah. I get it now. It took me a minute. Yes, you're absolutely right. Coffee beans or something of the sort, right? Like, woohoo, I've got energy. So from exhausted to energy. Yeah, full of beans when they're acting crazy. Yes, there you go. So Mexican jumping beans, right? Remember those little things when we were kids? We'd get those 3 little beans. There were worms in a bean. Anyway, I digressed. Let's talk a little bit about cannabis in a moment. As I said, I don't talk about it all the time anymore, only when it's applicable or when I'm asked questions. But yes, I am very well versed in cannabinoid therapy. I've done a lot of study under Dr. Ethan Russo, who studied the endocannabinoid system. And an interesting thing is that once you understand the endocannabinoid system, ECS for short, okay, and all that is, it's a system inside of us which is as archaic and as unique to us as our central nervous system. It was only recently recognized, probably in or around the 80s. However, it seems to be the information highway that keeps, all those blockers on the highway that keeps everything in a state of homeostasis, in a state of balance. And so it helps with the messaging. It's a natural system in your body. It helps to regulate things like pain or sleep. It helps to regulate inflammation. And it works through cannabinoid receptors known as the CB1 and CB2 receptors, which are found in areas of the brain. They're found in areas in nerves, in immune cells, and in organs. And notably, this is the really cool part, your body naturally produces cannabinoids. Your body naturally does this, just like the ones we find in the plant. The ones that our body produces are called endocannabinoids. And as I said, they maintain a state of homeostasis. The ones found in plants are called phytocannabinoids. They are built the very same, which is why supplementing, just like when we're weak on vitamin D, we can supplement it with an external source to help build up our vitamin D resources so that we have what we need to keep our bodies in optimal performance mode. It's the same with cannabinoids. Now, we can get cannabinoids from a variety of different things, but they are most predominant in the cannabis plant. THC in particular binds to the CB1 receptors in our brain, which is why we get that euphoric feeling. So CB1, and I am really oversimplifying this. These are your CB1 receptors in the brain. THC, when it's raw, is shaped like this. It has all these arms on it, and they won't fit into the brain, which is why eating raw cannabis will not get you high. But once you decarboxylate it or activate it, it now fits into that receptor, coats it really well, and you get high. A small sidestep of information there. CBD, on the other hand, interacts with the CB2 receptors, which are mostly in the immune system, which is why CBD is so amazingly effective at reducing inflammation and pain without the euphoria that's associated. Now, the euphoria that's associated with THC and the CB1 receptors actually helps to calm our minds so that we can think through some of these systems, right? The bottom line is cannabis really helps to enhance your body's ability to manage pain because it supports the ECS. Now, here's the fun fact that I got all excited about when I first started talking about cannabis to you. People with fibromyalgia in particular probably have an endocannabinoid deficiency condition, which makes cannabis therapy an exceptionally powerful tool for symptom relief. If you want to know more about cannabinoid or endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome, look up Dr. Ethan Russo. He has amazing information that he can provide you with, which will help you in the future. Let's go on a little bit more before I run out of time here. I do want to share with you how cannabis can be used for fibro pain relief. There are a variety of different ways. Let's first look at what THC versus CBD is and which is right for you. My opinion, a combination of both. That's what works for me. Now, THC is the psychoactive component of the molecules that are found, the cannabinoids found in cannabis. It's one of the most potent ones, and it is best for pain relief. It's fantastic for sleep and great for relaxation. That is the key benefits that you get from THC. The key benefits from CBD is that it's non-psychoactive, but it is best for inflammation, anxiety, and any forms of daytime relief where you need to keep your cognitive functions on board. You need to be in the here and the now. The best ways to use cannabis for fibromyalgia. When it comes to sleep and deep relaxation, definitely try a higher THC dominant strain. Myself personally, I like the purples. Granddaddy Purple, Purple Project. But there are a lot of different strains that can be used. For daytime pain relief, using something like CBD balanced ACDC or Harlequin, which is a CBD dominant, or Charlotte's Web. You can get Jack Hare's CBD, or a very balanced THC to CBD ratio. It's very important to always start low doses, small amounts, and increase gradually, slowly. So start low, go slow. Now, I am referencing that for edibles as well as inhalable materials. If you are smoking a joint that or inhaling from a vape, like a balloon, mine is not handy today. But if you are smoking a joint, a pipe, a bong, if you are vaping your dry herb or what have you, start low, couple of puffs, stop, wait, give it 5 to 10 minutes. See how you actually feel, especially if you're new to using cannabis or you found a new strain. You want to really find the strains that work for you optimally. All right. It's also important to know that indica strains are more relaxing and sedating, so probably best for nighttime. Sativa strains tend to be more energizing and can be helpful for daytime pain. Having that balance of THC to CBD ratio is important to know what works for you. So keep a journal, keep track of the strains. You want to know more? Check out my website. You'll find a couple of books. I wrote the book on it. There's a journal there that you can, honestly, they're on Amazon. I don't know, and I don't have any handy, but it's just to help you keep track of the different strains that you're trying, what their effects were on you. How did it make you feel this way? What are the cannabinoids in there and the terpenoids? Because the terpenes play an important role too. And over time, we'll talk more and more about this as time goes on in this show. Again, if you want to know a lot more about cannabis, you can always go to the greenirene.ca website and just go to the 420, anything that says 420. There is, I've done an extensive research on trying thousands of strains and topical products as well, and edibles. So I've been around the block when it comes to cannabis. That said, go to greenirene.ca for more cannabis information. We're going to move on because we're going to be running out of time here soon. I want to recap on today's stuff. We talked about NLP and how, talking to yourself helps you help you. We talked a little bit about the different techniques that you can use to help you. We talked about the words that you use helping you to help you. And yeah, and we talked about cannabis helping you. So another way in which to use cannabis, which I somehow glossed over, my apologies, is topical solutions. Topicals will not get you high, but a cannabis infused coconut oil will provide immediate relief in the general area. So localized pain relief. So you bang your knee or your elbow or your wrist or what have you, you put that cream on there and poof, that inflammation goes away. You cannot get high. Okay. THC is hydrophobic. There's a whole science to it, but you can't. That's the most important thing to know. So yes, inhalation or edible ingestion. Know that if you're ingesting cannabis, it is approximately 5 times stronger because the THC9 becomes further metabolized when it gets mixed with those digestive juices, and it becomes what is known as 11-hydroxy tetrahydrocannabinol, which is about 5 times stronger, more potent, and it lasts anywhere from 6 to 8 hours longer than just inhalation. All different dynamics. Things to know. Action plan. Moving forward. Practice these NLP techniques. Try it every single day. Practice them every day, a couple of times a day. Once you get the hang of it, you'll notice you're just doing it naturally. It's amazing how some of these just become a part of our daily routines, a part of who we are, just in functioning as humans in society. If you are considering cannabis use and not already using it, remember to start slow. Track your responses to the use of it so that you can find what works right for you. The reason you're keeping track of the different cannabinoids that are in there, the percentage of THC and the percentage of CBD and whatever else, perhaps CBG or CBC, and we'll get into more details like that as we go. Keeping track of that, knowing what the profile. So a higher CBG might work really well for you in March when you're feeling the most inflammation as the weather changes. You almost think I was talking from experience. I am. So, pay attention to what it is so that you learn what works for you. Moving forward, join me next week. We're going to be talking about, what are we talking about next week? We're on EFT. Emotional freedom tapping. If it's trapped, tap it out. This is an amazing technique that works so quick and so easily and with such very little effort. It's hard to believe that it's true. And it's really easy to say, no, you don't understand the pain that I have. There's no way tapping for 3 minutes is going to change that. Trust me, it does. And there's a whole science behind it. We're going to talk about that next week. So don't forget to follow me on Facebook if you're on Facebook at the Fibro Fight series. If you are following me on YouTube, remember to subscribe and hit that notification button at Green Irene's on YouTube. And you can always find me at the sign up link. Just go to fightfibro.ca. Drop a fireball or a purple heart in the chat if you're ready to fight fibro and win this war. You are a warrior against chronic pain. You got this. All right. Before I totally sign off, I'm going to quickly ask if there's any questions that I can answer for anybody that may or may not have questions today. Any questions? Oh, thank you. Thank you for joining me. And please remember to share, and tell people. I've got a few more weeks, I think 3 more weeks before I make the decision whether or not to continue going live with these lives. We also have the webinar at not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, it's a live webinar. Infoispower.ca. Go there. You'll find out about the webinar. It's about rewiring your brain to cope with stress and anxiety, and some really cool tools and techniques we'll be doing there and then. All right. On that note, thank you, everybody, for tuning in and joining me today from wherever it is that you are tuning in and joining me from. I look forward to your future questions, comments, and suggestions. On that note, take care, be happy, get healthy, and stay strong. Ciao for now.